both ways of learning
To be?
seem to be seem to be equally valid, seem to be equally valid, but a combination of the two may be the best solution. And
In order?
in order, is it an option? Yeah, it's an option. It's letter T. Perfect. In order to learn effectively, students have to remember.
Can you scroll down, teacher?
Yes.
Have to remember.
Mm. Just have to remember
Just have to remember.
to take.
To take. What do you think, Mickey? You have to remember to take risks sometimes.
Yes, I think that it's okay.
13 to take. It's letter A. Okay. Then, but they also have to feel comfortable and secure with what they are doing. So, 14. So that, so as, so that, so much, so as, so many.
So much. As?
So exactly, perfect. So as not to be demotivated, letter C. So as not to be demotivated. And then we have all students should at least think about.
Questioning?
About questioning the way that they approach learning. About question. Think about questioning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with me, Mitch? Yes, Mick. It looks like it's right. Let's see.
Yes.
It is right, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
¿Se congeló el maestro?
Creo que sí.
Chale. Mm.
Well, I'm back. Apparently, the electricity ran out, but now here I am.
Yeah, yesterday in my house, the electricity gone out too, but it was only like for 2 or 3 minutes.
Often happens. Ah, chale. Solo te escucho un segundo.
I'm back. Finally.
Hi, teacher. The
Hello.
electricity?
Yeah, I ran out. I need to turn off the modem.
Yeah, in my house yesterday, the electricity went out too.
Yeah, but finally, looks like it's back now. Hopefully, permanently. Mitch, I'm back. The electricity ran out. Here we are back again. Well, let's
I hope
continue
so.
then.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We were doing exercise, this exercise I, and I think we completed it, right? And
Yes,
Mhm.
that,
teacher.
and that was the last exercise from Unit 17, which is pretty advanced now. Let's now work on Unit 18, Education and Learning. Let me ask you a general question about the topic because it's a very interesting topic. What do you think the challenge of education is in this moment? Uh, there are many challenges, but which ones do you think pertain to the field of social sciences and which fields pertain to the field of exact sciences? What do you think are the
Mhm.
challenges of education in Mexico? So, who wants to answer this question, which is very broad?
Um, Maybe try to adapt the learning program to the new era technology, and also that have to more patient to the students, because as statistics we see that the new students of the new generations, I don't know, well, I think it's for the government that try to put the learning program even more and more um, useless, not
Useless.
competitive. Yes, because, well, I don't know if it was for the pandemic or I don't know, but we see children on fourth, fifth grade, and they can read that. Uh, I think it's something worrying because, well, the government, uh, how can I say, quita?
Removes or takes
Uh-huh.
off.
Take off some subjects, some themes that on our generation we had, and well. I think that's some challenges in the education in Mexico right now. Also, for example, the exam PISA that I don't know why Mexico is in there still. Mexico is in every day the last one on uh, the points grade, and every year is even with less points than the other countries. Then, well, we have so much help in that part. So,
Yeah, it's what you say, Mitch, is very true, but it's very worrying too. It's
mm,
incredible that we are scoring last or some of the last places. I don't know if how we scored the last one, but if we can look up at the internet, that is very worrying and should be more worrying for the people in charge because that's the people that enter the professional field. And how can we become competitive nationally or internationally if our students are scoring so low? Imagine when the Americans say, to begin to give just an example, hey, I want to set up a factory in Mexico because it's close to the border. But on the other hand, that it worries me that the average level of education is so low. Imagine when they're talking to the people of the Secretary of Economic Development here in Irapuato, when they say, you want to attract investments, but the education level is so low, how can you guarantee that the workers, the pawns, I mean the trabajadores, right, the workers, are going to do a good job if they have so low literacy level and educational level? How would you respond to that, Mickey or Mitch, if you were
mm.
discussing projects to attract investments to Guanajuato, for example?
Also, there was a recent exam for a lot of workers, which are teachers. A lot of them they have problems to read or orthography fault mistakes and a lot of mistakes in mathematics basic, and that is still something even more worrying, because if they are the teachers and if the program is even every year low, with less subjects, where the Mexican education going to stop, going to uh, going to end.
I don't know. That's worrying. It's very true, very, very true. But that worries me, even to listen to it, which is true actually. I admit that what you're saying is absolutely true. But then, Mickey, two questions. Do you agree with Mitch? And if you agree with her, what would be the first step towards the solution? In other words, the first step towards acquiring, getting, and maintaining a good educational level. Mickey, what would you recommend?
Mm, well, it's a hard question, but I think that now we have like the technology and the access to, yeah, to access to different kind of knowledge, to different kind of information. And if we share these technologies to the rest of the people, probably our education level can increase. But apart of that, I think that it's necessary to focus on the kids because I think that the majority of the issues starts from there because we don't have enough attention to these people, and that's why a lot of people or can't buy the education or just leave the school for any other reason.
Yeah, it's a complex problem, as you say. Very complex, actually, because it's not that we just tell the kids, hey, you have to read more. For example, Mitch was mentioning a PISA sort of tests, which I believe they read. What do they read, Mitch? What do the PISA tests read or perform? Measure, I'm sorry. What do or what does the PISA test measure? What do they measure? I think they measure three
What
things, right?
means measure?
Medir.
uh,
What does the PISA tests
the
measure?
basic knowledge of uh, elementary school, I
What
guess.
else? I think there are three items that they. I believe one of them is reading comprehension. Reading comprehension.
Hmm.
What I remember from the last report that I saw or that I read, the last report that is from year 19, I mean 2000, I think it's 2018 or 2016. You should ask your dad or your mom or your teachers at institute. I am sure they will be familiar with the results. But I think back then Mexico was scoring in the 25th percentile of reading comprehension.
What
What
means
is your
percentile?
percentile? If you have a scale of 100 questions, we the average of the country is ranking. Well, that was the result. If you understand all the questions, you're gonna rank in the 100th percentile here.
Okay.
Here, 100%. If we understand 50% of the questions, we rank in the 50%. Yes. And if we rank in the percentile 25, that means that we only understand 25% of the questions. So imagine that you read the Little Red Riding Hood and the Ferocious Wolf, and you read the story, and they make four questions. They tell you, Mickey, Mitch, where did the wolf live? In the forest, in the jungle, in the city, in the pole. Question number two, what color was the hood that Little Red Riding Hood had? Uh, who gave the pancakes to the Little Red Riding Hood to take them to the grandmother? And the question number four, how old was the Little Red Riding Hood? The average media will understand one question in the country in Mexico. So out of four questions, we understand only one question. Do you imagine how serious the situation is?
For brainstorming.
Out of four,
Sí, sí fue,
we
pero
understand only one question.
ya luego yo le pedí a Lili que hablara a su casa, pero dice Lili que nunca le contestó.
Mm,
Y ahorita me acordé, a mí ya no se me olvidó, no sé qué.
maybe could be related that the other three in this case are afraid that they question something wrong or bad, because often happens in the classrooms that anyone wants to question or participate in a lot of things because they are afraid that their other classmates joke on them, and often happens too.
Yeah, but in this case, the exam is written. They give you a reading, for example, Cinderella or The Beauty and the Beast, and they give you, I don't know how many questions they give you, probably 100 questions. And our score is 25%. It's like if they give you a test and you score 2.5.
Mm.
And that's the average, the national average in reading comprehension. And that was in the PISA tests of 2016 or 2018. I don't know if we can look that up, Mickey. What do you think? I mean, you like reading a lot, which is fantastic, and you guys read in English, which is even better. Um, what do you think about the poor reading habits of the national media? The national average is 25%, or was. I don't know if it improved or if it's worse. But the last one that I read, PISA tests. Let's see the results. PISA tests. PISA tests by country. Okay, PISA tests by country here. Let's see where Mexico ranks. 272 more rows. This is what Mitch was talking about. 530. PISA. Oh, 2018. Yes, I think that's the last one that we
Pues
had.
déjame, voy a seguir tratando
Do you
de.
see Mexico anywhere
Mexico is.
below 450 in the red column on the right?
Yeah, the
Below
57, I think so.
57th, 416.
Las otras ya.
And yeah, exactly.
Mírala. ¿Te llevaste? ¿Cómo sabes?
And something about these tests, which is very important, is score of mathematics, science, and reading. I think these are the three, Mitch, that you were talking about: mathematics, science, and reading. And reading is reading comprehension. Um, let's see, 57 is like Mickey says, Mexico, 416. I don't know why there's not even a number there, but it's 57th. And mathematics by category. Well, what should we do? Mexico 61.
61.
And in science, Mickey,
Mm,
57.
57.
And reading, source by country, 54.
50, 51, right?
51?
No,
I think it's
54. 54. Yeah, I
54.
confused with Moldova.
Yeah. And there was, well, there's a lot of information here. But the point is that we score low because the educational system, I think, is bad in general. Well, so bad that we're in rank 57. But the thing is, what is what is the cause and what the solution? Yeah, these are the questions that you ask the governor, right? Well, I mean, the governor asks the secretary of education, or the president asks the secretary of education, find out, make a diagnostic of why the education is so low and how can we improve it. Yeah, I know that is a project of 6 months or 1 year to find out the diagnostic, the reason, and the solution. So I don't pretend that you do this in a 60-minute class, but yeah, you guys are very smart and you have good elements to detect what the main problems of education in Mexico are. So, which are, in your opinion, the reasons why we score so low in math, in science, and in reading comprehension?
We don't
Mm,
have the best strategies to teach than other countries.
uh,
Okay.
apart of that, I think that, well, I can notice because obviously I have, I know people that has little brothers, and I realize that they always in this cell phone, but they are playing like video games like Fortnite, PUBG, or they are looking to videos that you say, "Oh my God, why are you looking at?" Instead of see things that really matters, or probably not like a news or something like that, but probably something more interesting than other topics, you know. So I think that we have like the technology, but we don't use it correctly.
Yeah, and that is a big problem, but it's also a big opportunity. And I think I've talked about this. We have talked about this quite a bit. Um, the software is not attractive. The software that we normally have is kind of boring. The educational software is what I mean. Have you ever played with games like People Mathematics or People the tables of multiplication? The Do you know this type of software from People?
Um,
Have you ever seen it?
it's like a software.
Yeah, it's a software. It was a software in which, for example, I used to buy, or we used to buy these programs. that had mathematics, and they had songs, and there was a guy like a little clown jumping and saying one by one, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10, and it was
Yeah.
funny. It was funny. It was very musical, very flashy. If you made a mistake and then you had to calculate how much is 2 times 5, and you put 11, then it sounded like a window was broken or a kid was
Mhm.
crying. And if you made the right answer, then it gave you applause. It applauded or something. The balloons went out and they congratulated. Those were made in Spain. There were others that were made in the US. There were others made in Argentina. And I have never seen anything like that in Mexico, made in Mexico. And the thing is that we are 125 million people. It's not that we are, listen, Spain has 40 million people in Spain. Argentina has 60, I think, million in Argentina. And Mexico has 125 million.
More
So,
than
Really?
Argentina and Spain together.
yeah, and why don't we have something like that? It's not that we don't have enough capacity or enough people to do it. So that's what I normally think about many issues, not only about education or software, right? What are the people doing then? Is my question, and I include myself. Don't think that I exclude myself. I am in part of those 125 million.
Yeah.
Like so, it looks like what one of my
Mm,
teachers said to me is lack of entrepreneurship. I think.
mm,
What do you think, Mitch?
Considering that 41% of the population of the Mexican population live in extremely or just poorly situation daily, that could means that they don't have an easily access to the big information or uh, good capacity or good education. Then, if we rest that 41%, how many people we have? Um,
Good
of
point.
course, there are still people, but I think the government has to help in that part too, to help that bunch of people because it's so many. Um, we're a lot, but appears to the world appearing that we are not enough, and that's too so sad.
Very true, Mitch. Very true. Well, say
41,
extreme.
41%. Sorry, teacher.
What percentage?
41.
41%. Well, 41 is still a lot. It's more than
Yeah.
41% live in extreme poverty, which
Well,
is a
resume
lot.
statistics.
Yeah, no, no, no. That's an accurate number. I don't argue with that. I agree with you. So let's say that is 40 million, more or less, rough numbers, or 45 million people, because it's 40 plus 20%, right? 40 plus 25%, 50 billion people. So 50 million people, which is a lot. Imagine 50 million living in extreme poverty. But then we have 75 who live, let's call million, in more or less good condition. Still is a lot of people in good condition. In good conditions. What do you think? What are we still lacking? Uh, we need to do something, right? What can we do?
Hmm.
Mm, well, I think that we can start from ourselves
Yeah, that's true.
because I think that so many times we are like criticizing the government,
Yes.
criticizing the model education. But from ourselves, we don't read more or we don't search more about politics or more about our world in general, technology. And we are like, yeah, we need to change, but we don't change for ourselves. So
Yeah,
I think
that's
that
true.
That's the first.
Mm,
I fully agree, Mickey. Yeah, yeah, we should start with ourselves, right? Yeah.
I fully agree with Mickey. Just in this case, if okay, we start for ourselves, we capacity ourselves, we know about everything, but how we can share that lot of information to that other people who has very difficulties to access to that information.
That's a good point.
I think that's part of the government because okay, I have to the initiative to share to this community this information. But if they want to learn about everything, how we can give them all the information? They need signal, need internet, they need more opportunities to have a device to share all of that. But it's not that simple. And yes, I can criticize the government because they are not doing nothing.
All right, let me ask you a question, both of you guys, Mickey and Mitch. Let's talk about what we consider our circle of influence. The people that, if you tell them, look, you need to do more exercise, otherwise you're gonna gain weight, like myself, or you can tell you need to cut down on sugar because that can lead to diabetes. Or the people that, when they listen to what you say, will more or less act accordingly to your suggestions or references. How big is it? How can people increase the circle of influence? And is it something that we want to pursue? Is that something that we want to increase? In other words, my circle of influence, personally speaking, is normally myself, my family, my daughters, my girlfriend, my students, the people in the school. So I have a circle of influence of say 30 people when I teach class uh, in the school. My friends, when I write something in the internet, the people that follow my messages, which is going to be like 30, 40, 50 people at most. And not all of them will agree with my ideas. Some of them will disagree, which is a good thing, right? Not all of us think the same. How can you guys expand that you say, we need to do this and all the people will do it, Mitch or Mickey? What's the circle of influence people have and how can we increase it? That's, I guess, the question. It's a long question, but sincere question.
Uh,
Mm,
do you mean circle of influence people who can influence or share better, more information with in the global way or
No, 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 no.
international way?
I'm talking about the three of us, myself, Mickey, and
Okay,
you.
okay.
What is your circle of influence? If you have an idea, any idea that you have, how many people will follow you? And when we talk about followers, it's not that the people that you have as contacts in internet, in Facebook, it's the people that will do what you suggest them to do. For example, I remember in the U.S. there were there was a case in which people was not buying bananas in the stores, like say the equivalent to Soriana or Walmart. And then I asked them, what happens with all those bananas? They are getting rotten. And they said, no, people are not buying them. Why? What's the problem? Well, they all come from Ecuador. I said, what's the problem? Yeah, but Ecuador didn't want to accept the U.S. to install a nuclear base. So in retaliation, the government started to convince people to boycott uh, Ecuadorian bananas. So
Hmm.
the government has a strong influence, right? If you say anything, Mitch or Mickey, how many people will follow you in your idea? That's what I call the circle of influence.
Hmm.
I don't know if the concept is clear, more or less.
The
yeah.
friends.
Well, in my case, for example, my family, my mom, my dad, my brothers, and I don't consider that I'm a person with a lot of friends, but the friends that I have are so loyal to me, and I am so loyal to them. So I think that probably no more than 10 people, but those 10 people could do the same with their circle of influence, and it's like a little. How can I say this? Like a little. Um, chain. I don't know if it's
Yeah, a
correct.
chain. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what it is. It's a chain.
yeah. I think that
You could actually.
the best example is your example. So you need to start from yourself, and then the people uh, who live with you, who talk with you, who share moments with you, probably they're gonna apply at least one thing that you're doing, and that's how you create like this little chain and still increasing, increasing, increasing.
Right. For instance, I once made a small experiment in the language center. I told the
Mm-hmm.
teachers that we should all tell our students. And it's not now that I have 33 or 35 students. It was when we had 90 students before the pandemic. 90. I said, let's tell all the students to plant something like spinaches, cilantro, radishes, broccoli, whatever, and bring a little plant. Let's see how it works. And out of the 90 students back then, like 45 people brought their little pot with a plant inside. So I said, well, my circle of influence in the school was 50% and with a total of 45 students, more or less, right? So if I have so many followers and I tell them, look, I suggest this weekend let's do an experiment. Let's all eat seafood just on Saturday, or anything, any idea that you have, right? For the benefit of people, of course. Or let's not eat any sugar this weekend, just for the sake of it. Let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, what is our circle of influence, and how can we expand it, beginning with ourselves, Mickey, Mitch, following your idea, which I like very much. So I think we should begin there, as Mickey says, as you say, Mitch, beginning with ourselves. How can we enlarge our circle of influence? How could we do that?
Hmm. Maybe demonstrating our points with security on ourselves. Maybe, of course, with our friends, but maybe with not with people we are not so many friends, but our friends can tell them, and of course with the social media. Um, but yeah, I think everything starts in us sharing or self being security of our point and the information that we are giving to the masses.
Okay, I like that comment. Thank you, Mitch. What do you think, Mickey? How can we enlarge, if you have 10 friends plus your family, cousins, or etc., and you have, let's say, 10, 15, 20 people, how could you enlarge that circle, Mickey? Directly, not talking indirectly, that is going to provoke a chain reaction, which is very good, but just directly, direct contact. How can you enlarge that influence?
Mm, yeah, well, like Mitch said, with self confidence, because to do a change, you first of all need to believe that in that change, and you need to, in a way, like reply it.
Okay. Um, all right. What experiment could we do to prove that we can enlarge our circle of influence? Let's design a social experiment. Any type of activity that proves our influence. Design a social experiment. Let's see. Any ideas are good. Let's try to provoke anything, whatever that you find that is useful, interesting, funny, and that we can tell a great number of people to do it. And when we say a great number of people, anywhere from five up and above is good. So let's say
Mm, 10 people.
10 people, okay. Convince 10 people to do anything. Harmless, of course. or even positive. For example, we can tell them not to eat any sugar, or walk 5 minutes, or
Read.
read, read,
Yeah.
exactly, read anything. Read about Einstein or about Mozart or about Van Gogh or Goya or whatever, something that we find we are convinced that is positive. How
Yeah.
many people can you convince? I can probably convince 10 people. If I devote myself to it, I can probably convince 20. I'm thinking about anything. What can I tell my friends to do? How many would you convince, Mitch?
Mm.
Me probably 8, 10 people.
8 to 10.
Hmm.
Okay. What would you tell them, Mickey, Mitch? What would be the task?
Yeah, probably that could be like a challenge. Put a challenge to me and my friends uh, of reading 10 pages per day.
Reading
And
10 pages?
yeah, and and
How
probably during today until the last day of this year. And I think that you can create an habit, and now these people could do it for the rest of their lives if they want. Because it's enough time. It's it's almost 1 month and a half.
from now end of the year? That would be your challenge. Okay, that sounds fantastic. What about you, Mitch? How would you challenge your friends? What would you tell them to do if you wanted to do a social experiment, challenging them to do something?
Mm. To my friends?
Yeah, friends or acquaintances, people that you know, not necessarily good friends, but people that in your contact list that you
Mm.
would convince to do anything.
To play a video game online or order some kind of food that I want.
Or eat some type of food. For example, what would you tell them to eat?
uh, Popcorns or tacos
To eat or not to eat?
to eat.
To
Oh,
eat. That's the challenge.
I
Popcorn
can do it and without challenge.
without a challenge. You could eat.
Oh, with a challenge, I don't know. Mm, I never think about it.
First of all, I would say that we need society to change in a way, right? For example, if I have my students at Liceo Cervantino, for instance, and they speak, excuse my French, but they speak like if they were in the market or in prison. But they say these big words. My challenge for my Liceo Cervantino students would be go 2 hours. 2 hours would be the challenge, believe me, in school without saying a bad word. If they go 2 hours without saying a bad word, I would probably buy them a piece of candy or something. So the challenge would be not to say any bad words in 2 hours. Imagine
Hmm.
that would be the challenge, and I don't know if they would comply. To be honest, I don't know if they can spend 2 hours without saying one of these bad words. Honestly, I promise. Other people, let's say my friends who are about my age, people like your dad or common friends, I would probably tell them, let's see if you can run for 3 consecutive days for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, because that's a challenge for myself, right? So something related to having a good physical condition, because I think people of my age need that, need to do more exercise. Uh, what do you think your friends need, Mitch or Mickey? What do you think they need to make an evolution on or evolve?
Mm, to my friends,
Oh, yeah, people of your generation. What do they need that they haven't obtained yet?
probably so many people in my generation need to know how to get money. You know, the different ways to get money, because sometimes to people in my same age, it's a little bit frustrating because you don't know how to make money. So I think that it's important.
That sounds very interesting. Very interesting. Maybe the challenge would be to find out 5 ways to make money, or
Yeah.
okay. That sounds like a good challenge, right? Like an interesting challenge. Hey guys, you need to let's do a challenge. Let's see who finds the most interesting or feasible ways to make money. Find 5 feasible ways to make money. What do you think of this challenge, Mitch?
Honest. What means feasible?
Feasible is easy to achieve, or
Uh,
possible.
okay.
Find five
It's a
feasible
very
ways.
good challenge because it's something that everyone could want and need.
Okay. What would motivate your friends to answer to this challenge, Mickey? If I read it, I would say, well, just for curiosity, let's see. Okay, and I submit my 5 suggestions. One, two, three, four, 5 suggestions to Mickey, who openly put a challenge to his friends. In my case, the motivation would be just curiosity or participation with a person that I know and appreciate. Uh, what about other people? Would they feel the same? How would they feel motivated to react to comply with your request?
Well, I think that everybody in this world needs money to live. Probably not is the most important thing, but I think that is necessary. And more like people in my age that obviously they want to go out to different places, they want to know different things, and obviously if you don't have the money to do it, probably that would be like the incentive, or how can I say it?
Incentive, yeah, absolutely, yes.
So I think that yeah,
It's a good
because
challenge, yeah.
yeah, I know the people of my age, and sometimes we talk about it, and it's like yeah, it is necessary to know how to do money.
Well, then I suggest something, Mitch, Mickey. Why don't we set up a challenge to our contacts anytime? Like this is a good idea. You can have similar ideas, Mitch, and maybe I myself can do something like that.
Yeah.
Let's think of a challenge to our circle of influence, and let's see how many people, first of all, respond with idea or comply with our request. What about that challenge? Do you think we can set up this social experiment?
Yeah.
How do you feel, Mitch, for this social experiment? Do you think we can? You want to participate? Do you think you can do it?
Mm, tell to my contacts 5 feasible ways to make money.
No, 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 no. You're a personal idea that you set up. You set up the challenge, whatever you want. In this case,
Mm,
Mickey said, well, there is a challenge for my friends or for my contacts. Find 5 feasible ways to make money. You set up a similar change or a different change, a challenge. I'm sorry, a challenge like this. Why don't you set up a challenge to your friends, Mitch, like this?
uh, I don't know. Give me ideas.
Well, for example, uh, where I don't know where. First of all, what do you think your friends or people of your age need to learn that haven't done, or they need to do? What do
Hmm.
you think is something that would be beneficial for them to learn?
Learn how to draw better.
Okay,
because,
so
for
yeah,
example, I have two classmates which are darn friends, my friends, but they are too close to fail the subject of drawing in the school. And I think, okay, mention three basic drawing techniques. Okay.
that's an idea. If that's what they need, well, challenge them to do it. To basic drawing techniques, or I drawing tips or hints. I don't know what the right word is. Hints or tips or techniques. I don't know. What word do you use more, Mitch? Drawing hints, drawing tips, drawing techniques.
Mm, techniques.
Okay, let's leave that word then. Three drawing techniques. That would be the challenge. Um, in my case, I see maybe my challenge would be mention the three or the five most important values in the Irapuato society. Which is the most important value? Which are the most important values? Or in any society? Yeah, maybe like that. Something related to values. I think the values are still an important element in the society, in any society. I would do a challenge like this, and I think I have Miki's contact, right? So you will see something like this in my Facebook, Miki, in the next few hours, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll think of something of this nature, and then next class, which would be when
Mm,
Wednesday, Friday.
I think that Mitch can't on Wednesday, but I'm not sure.
Wednesday.
You you cannot, right? You can't.
I can, but until 5
So if it is like from after 5 or before 5, Mitch?
after 5.
After 5. Oh, okay. So let's say that it was from 5 to 6 or even 6 to 7 on Wednesday, Mickey. How would that be?
5
Yes,
to
It's too late.
6 better.
it's okay.
It's okay.
Five
Well,
to
5 to
six, for
6.
example, it's good for me.
Mm-hmm.
5 to 6. So why don't we arrange on Wednesday class from, you said 5 to 6. Ah, let me see. Let me check something really quick
Yeah.
because I want to make sure that I don't have one of those advisories that I give in this university in Mexico City. Let me see really quick. I'm checking. Actually, let me share the screen so that you see what I'm looking at. Invitation here is presentation, um, and I normally schedule a very brief conference in this university, and I want to make sure that it's not on Wednesday. Well, one is Tuesday at 6:30. That's for group number one. So that is Tuesday. So that doesn't have anything to do with Wednesday. And the other one, which is group two, it is on. I tell you when. I think it's Wednesday, but let me see the time. It is Wednesday from 6 to 7. So it could be after 7, which I don't know if it is too late or not, or it can be 5 to 6.
Which day?
Wednesday.
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 Yeah, well, could be like 5 to 6, and or
5 to
probably
6.
starts a little bit before 5 to ends before 6, and you are on time to your session.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be nice. What do you think, Mitch? Is it good for you?
5 to 6?
5 to 6
Yes.
on Wednesday? Yeah, 5 to 6 on Wednesday.
And which other day, teacher?
That would be this. And then Friday could be like other days, right? Friday, it could be.
No, Friday, no.
No, not
Ugh.
Friday. Uh,
On Thursday, you can't, teacher?
Thursday, it needed to be very. Actually, let me see. Thursday, Thursday, it needs to be very early because I finish classes at 2.
At 2.
At 2.
Okay.
Then I have a class. No, it could be Thursday, like 2:30 if you have time.
2:30?
2:30.
If you have time, Thursday.
Yeah, it is
Okay.
perfect, teacher. Yeah,
Yes.
if it's okay to
Is it okay?
2:30. Yeah.
So let me then put here Wednesday 5 to 6 and Thursday 2:30
To
to
3:30.
3:30. And then on Thursday we decide if we do something on Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
Yes, or both days. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well, so for today we finish here, and we have a challenge, Mickey, Mitch. Let's see how it comes out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like see, teacher.
Okay, and then we remind me if I forget. Please remind me to check the results on Wednesday. Then, okay, it's a couple of days from now, and we can check that up continuously.
Yes, teacher.
Okay.
It is perfect. Thank
Okay,
you very much.
very much. Take care, Mitch, Mickey. Enjoy your day, and see you on Wednesday. Then, thank you very
Yes,
much.
teacher.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye,
Thank you for your
teacher.
time.
Have a great day.
You too. Enjoy. Good
Bye.
afternoon.
Thank
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
you
Take
too.
Take
care.
Bye.
Bye
care.
bye.